Hartford's number one for hip hop and R&B. This is the Beat of CT. My name is Jenny Boom Boom. DJ Meechie is here. Hi, Meech.
Morning, Jenny.
And today we're talking to Sam Gray, who is the president and CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Hartford. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
How you doing there, Mr. Gray? Everything good?
Everything's great.
We've been trying to get you on with us because we're interested in what's going on over there at the Boys and Girls Club, especially during this time, during the pandemic. It must be so tough for you guys.
It is tough. You know, we're in the business of dealing with kids hands-on. Right. And we're in the middle of a pandemic where we have to be creative and innovative of how we are able to touch and impact kids who really need us the most, right? Yeah. So it's a challenging time. And so we're doing it virtually. We are doing it, socially distancing in regards to our clubs are open. Our Boys and Girls Clubs are open. When
that's so great.
Yeah, when you think about those parents, those are, parents that have to work, right? That have to provide. They need a place for their kids to be able to go, a safe place. And at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Hartford, we provide that, socially distancing, following all the proper protocols and as such. We don't serve as many kids as we did before the pandemic, but we're a solution.
So, I think that this is great because the kids, even if the kids aren't going to school full time, they do need, for the kids, especially that aren't going to school full time, they do need that socialization.
Absolutely. I'm a proud father of 3 boys, right? And I look at my 12-year-old and I look at the ultimate responsibility I have for leading one of the largest youth development organizations in the greater Hartford area. And it's tough. When you think about the interaction that kids once had by going to school regularly, to going to a place like a Boys and Girls Club, and then to take that away, that's tough. It has a mental, social impact that we have to be prepared when they do have the opportunity to come back into society, some new normalcy once these vaccinations have a community impact. We have to be prepared for our kids mentally. As far as the trauma they experienced since last March, right? So we got to be prepared. We have to be the voice. We have to be the counselors, the mentors, the things that they need to help them reintegrate back to some sense of normalcy.
Yeah, I have a 9-year-old and he has expressed to me many times that he feels very lonely.
Oh,
yeah. And I'm just waiting for sports to start in the spring again, because I'm hoping like once that happens, he can see other kids at least. But I saw online this weekend too, where a girl had actually put a video up and it went viral where she was probably younger than my son, maybe 7, talking about how she just misses being with her friends, misses being at school. And yeah, I really do believe that these kids are being severely affected by this situation.
It's a trauma that, we look at ourselves as an organization as a solution, right? But we're not subject matter experts. But we're looking and having those courageous conversations with the Connecticut Children's Hospital, with Hartford Hospital. How do we train our staff to understand and be able to have these courageous conversations with young people to help them understand what they're going through? Now, this is bigger than just the pandemic. You talk about the social unrest on top of that, and not going to school. This is really trauma that our kids are experiencing that is not talked about a lot. But as a youth serving organization, I can say that Boys and Girls Club is part of the solution to help families to be able to provide the resources that many families can't afford. But we're looking to partner in a way to help and make sure our kids can get on the right track, can be on the right track, and have some sense of normalcy.
Right. And I remember growing up, I was a club kid and, I went to Boys and Girls Club in New Britain. And I just remember, like you said, like it was just a place for us to go to be with our friends, especially going through that transition of like, I would say, sometimes you had friends that went to other schools, but then you would meet up at the Boys and Girls Club. You know what I mean? So it was like just one of those central hubs where you just knew you was going to be able to see all your friends, be around everybody. You had mentors there. You had people that were a little bit older than you that you could look up to. Like, I just remember the Boys and Girls Club being like a pivotal part of my growing up, when I was a kid. So I just can't even imagine what these kids are going through now. But it's great to hear that you guys are still open and that you guys are still providing these programs for them. because I was thinking about that one day. Like I was having a conversation with somebody that was talking about, not having a place to, bring their kids and that type of situation. And in my head, I just kept thinking, like, I remember when I was younger, Boys and Girls Club was the place to go. That's where we went to go play basketball, to go do this, go have fun. Like, so, I commend you guys, because, these kids definitely need it.
Yeah. So, it's been interesting. I grew up a club kid too, from Richmond, Virginia. I just been lucky to be associated with this organization ever since I was 8. This was always my second home. And you're right. It was those staff people.
Right.
The secret sauce to our Big Mac is the people we have in the Boys and Girls Club. It's not the building, it's not the program. I bet you if I ask you some of those people that impacted your life, you can go back and remember and reminisce some of those people that gave you those memories.
Yep.
That's what a Boys and Girls Club is. That's the beauty about who we are as an organization. So even in these trying times, having these conversations, through, virtually and as such, we're still doing those things. Like today, we're closed, but we're able to still provide programs virtually, right? We just have to be creative. Now I know once the snow clears up, that our doors will reopen, right? And it's a smaller subset of kids. We were an organization pre-COVID that was serving 1,300 kids a day. Wow. Now we're an organization that's serving less than 300. And that's because of the social distancing and the protocol, safety protocols we want to have for our kids and youth, but also for our staff as well, right? So we're open. We've been open since March 6th. Since July 6th.
Okay.
Every day since then, And what I'm really proud of is what we've been doing more recently, right? So when you think about a partnership with the city of Hartford, and in Hartford Public Schools in regards to kids that are in the grades of kindergarten through 3rd grade. If they're a Hartford resident, they can go to a Boys and Girls Club for full day services. So they can do their schoolwork in the Boys and Girls Club in front of their computer, knowing that there's a staff person there while they're in class, know they can get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then once they finish with school, can transition to our after school programs. That's huge for a lot of
That is so great. That is so great.
Right. And so after school at 4 to 7, 8 o'clock in the evenings, we stay open for kids that are in the 4th through 12th grade. Again, just a safe place, a beacon of hope where a kid can be a kid and have some sense of normalcy and doing it in a respectful way of social distancing and just being safe. Right.
I really love these learning pods that you have created with the city of Hartford.
Yes.
We also heard about them through CRT a couple weeks ago. And I think this is just a genius idea. This is just such a great thing that kids can go there during the day and get their work done and get help with the monitors there and just, allow parents to work, which is really important.
Right.
And it's just such a great thing. And you guys being so supportive and providing those meals that a lot of kids really count on. At school. Yeah. I mean, that's just so great. You guys are doing such great work.
It's amazing, right, to see this partnership and see the leadership with our mayor and other city officials to make this a priority for our young people, right? Yeah. But then you talk about the food disparities that happen in our communities. A lot of, I remember a time where, a lot of people would call Hartford, a food desert, where you wouldn't see a lot of grocery stores or fresh produce and such. And you think about it right now, right? And I can share with you all that through a fantastic partnership that we have with Stop and Shop, we now, those families that are in need, that need groceries, that just need that extra help, all they have to do if their kids go to a Boys and Girls Club is to say something to a staff person, and a gift card or 2 can help that, family, put food on their table, just to help them, just to give some sense of, a nutritional, well-balanced meal and as such and whatnot. Just food, period, right? Yeah. Without stressing, that's what Stop and Shop has done in partnership with us. So it's amazing, right? The generosity of what our city is doing, how we're wrapping ourselves around one another, is good. It's still a lot more to do, right? So yeah.
That's so awesome. That's so great. So the virtual programs, let's go back to those, because what are you guys offering virtually right now?
So, just imagine if you couldn't be in a Boys and Girls Club, if you had to go into different rooms and interact with different staff, you'll still be able to go to our virtual website or our virtual clubhouse and click on different programs. So if you want to get some physical activity, then you can go through a Zumba class or do some yoga and things of that nature. And it's pre-recorded, things that either our staff have done or our virtual volunteers have done. And our virtual volunteers have come from the corporate community in a number of different companies around the area. It's been phenomenal. So, but when you look at, arts and crafts, really doing projects that you can just use from everyday things that you have in your home, our staff are doing that with our kids and youth. STEM activities. If you can imagine it, I think we try to create it in a virtual format for kids to be able to look at pre-recorded, but also in the afternoons, we have a cohort of kids that actually go through live broadcasting, live ideas, just like what we're doing right now. They may go through financial literacy programs. They may go through a career panel based upon a career that they may be interested in, all just to keep them engaged, working towards a great future. Right? Life of what it may look like as far as to high school. So if they decide to go to a college or university, taking virtual college tours or understanding fill out the FAFSA, just the whole application process. How do you do it? Just all those things, just trying to be creative and just help our kids, but just doing it in a different and vibrant way.
That is so awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just speaking from my own experience, I know that, my son, when he has those types of programs to get on the computer with, even though it's on the computer, like you said, it still makes them feel busy. It gives them activity. And it also, just gives them that kind of, like, again, getting back to the loneliness, it gives them that type of just relationship with other folks, there. So that's so great.
It's important, right? And I think that's a critical thing that's missing from a lot of our young people. It's just human interaction, right?
Yeah.
Zoom helps, Google Classroom helps, but it's nothing like just being around each other,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So during the holidays, I know you said Stop and Shop has really been helping out, with combating food insecurity, but you had a lot of companies step up. So would you like to acknowledge some of them at this point?
Oh my God, it's a long list, and I will be remiss because there's so many that have been so generous over the years, and specifically around the holidays, just to put smiles on kids' faces. So I'm glad, a lot of the kids that walk through our doors, we still were able to, not only give them, gifts for the holidays, but also, grocery bags and such, just to have a real impact on the entire family and whatnot. It's just so huge. So I talked about Stop and Shop. There are many corporations and businesses in the area that have been like true champions of our organizations, from the Hartford to the Travelers to Cigna to Aetna, CVS. I mean, I could just go down the list. But that community impact still happens to this day, really leaving an impressionable impact on kids and families for our community. Again, watching our city around this time, and everyone, pitching in to help in so many different ways, from the foundation to giving to the United Way. I mean, I can just go on and on. And I'm just, as a partner, as a provider for after school services or full day services for kids, we're thankful. We're grateful to have these types of partnerships to, most importantly, help us achieve our mission with young people and provide a safe place for them to grow and have great futures.
Yeah. So what's so great with these companies is, honestly, we keep hearing all the bad news, right? People are getting laid off, things are happening, but the companies that are still doing really well seem to be giving back tremendously to the community, which is just so great.
Yeah. So I would say, there's a virtual volunteer opportunities that I've shared that's how we're engaging companies now. We can't have them come inside our business or in our Boys and Girls Club because of the pandemic, and we want to keep everyone safe. But we're able to still creatively have those volunteers do different activities with the kids, read books to our young people, serve on career panels. I mean, we find a number of ways to engage employees to the work, right, of what we're doing with young people. It's so very important. I think probably one of the best illustration for us as a Boys and Girls Club was more recently when, prior to this pandemic, we were in a capital campaign to build a new Boys and Girls Club in the South-end, right behind Burr School off of Weathersfield Avenue,
Right.
2 blocks south of Buckley High School. I had this ambitious goal with my board of trustees to build a new Boys and Girls Club here in the city of Hartford. And what we found was that the data, as far as where are the school age kids in Hartford, and based on the data of the school year 1920, there were more than 67% of Hartford Public School students reside in the South-end. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
So for me, when I look at all the Boys and Girls Clubs in Hartford, we have a number of sites throughout the city. But most of the sites, if you looked at a map of Hartford, most of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Hartford are on the west side of Hartford. So the northwest, right behind Weaver High School, we're at Asylum Hill, right in the center of Hartford. But then you got the Southwest Boys and Girls Club and the Trinity College Boys and Girls Club, all on the west side. But when you looked at the South-end, and the North End has a number of youth serving organizations. Again, we're not competing. When you got some great programs with the Salvation Army, the YMCA, I can just go on, other youth serving organizations. But when you looked at the South-end, there was this huge gap of no building centered after school facility.
That's
and
so
that's
crazy.
called action, right?
Yeah.
So we had an original goal of raising $20 million before the pandemic, right? And in Hartford, that is it's very aggressive, right?
It's a lot of money there, Sam.
Green. And so what we did was, by February of this past year, March, we raised in about 18 months, about $20 million, a little over $20 million. To date, over $21 million. We broke ground for this new Boys and Girls Club in June of last year. This is a 30,000 square foot facility, state of the art. You name it, it's in there. TV and recording studio, performing arts black box, gymnasium, games room, technology center, arts and crafts center, you name it, it is there for our young people. And I'm excited by September 7th of this year, that Boys and Girls Club will be open.
That's so
serving
great.
stuff in the community. So it's amazing. So when you talk about the corporate community, how they've stepped in, I can say there is one project in Hartford that the community really rallied behind with the governor, the mayor, the CEO of the Hartford, Chris Swift, was our campaign chair. And he helped us raise the dollars necessary to build this new safe haven, this second home for thousands of young people. He really helped us engage the business community to make this happen. This is exciting. When we break those ribbons, I want to see both of you all there.
Yes.
I want you all to see the faces, the smiling faces of young people going into their new home.
So
that's what it's all about.
How many kids will be able to go to this new facility? I mean, I know
on a daily basis.
Yeah.
If COVID goes away, right? We're anticipating at least 1,500 new kids, but on a daily basis, about 450 kids a day.
Wow. That's a lot of kids you'll be helping.
It's a lot of kids. That's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And that will give us a footprint that we'll probably be serving almost 1 out of every 2 kids in the Hartford public school system.
Wow.
That's impact,
so great.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're a little known secret, I mean, think about just history about us. We're the first Boys and Girls Club in the country. Number 1, we were founded in 1860 by 4 women, Mary and Alice Goodwin, Louise Bushnell, and Elizabeth Hammersley. They actually went to a call to action sermon at Asylum Hill Congregational Church. And the pastor at the time, his name was Father Hawley. He challenged the congregation to do good in the community, to help get the young boys that were in street gangs off the streets. I don't think those women would have ever imagined it going to the largest youth development organization in the country. And it all started here in Hartford in 1860. So last year we celebrated 160 years of serving youth. And we're very proud.
I never knew that. I never
Yeah,
knew that. I never
yeah.
knew the history behind the Boys and Girls Club. I'm so happy you just told us that. Did you know that, Meechie?
Nah, I didn't. I didn't know that.
Look, so
Wow.
we don't have a Denzel, we don't have a Jen Lo, we don't have an Alex Rodriguez, but we have young people that are making tremendous strides, be the change in their community. That's what a Boys and Girls Club. Meechie, you're a club kid. You know
Mm-hmm.
the impact that we have, and that's what it's all about.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so moving forward towards the summer. Will you guys, I'm sure parents are already asking what's
Yes.
happening with summer programming this year for the Boys and Girls Club. So do
So we
you,
will be open. We will provide a 6-week summer program, socially distancing. So meaning we won't serve the volumes of kids that we once did, but we could be a solution for those essential workers, those families that need somewhere for their child to go. We are an alternative. We also have an early learning center at our Asylum Hill Boys and Girls Club for 3 to 5-year-olds. And that's a full day service. It's NIAC accredited, school readiness approved, everything as far as what you would want your kid to be able to be exposed to as far as, being kindergarten ready, right? But then when you think about traditional summer camp from 6 to 12-year-old, it's available. Limited numbers of kids again. And we are licensed in our summer program. And then as for older kids, we don't forget about them. We look for opportunities to provide jobs, opportunities for them to give back to the community to serve as counselors and trainings and things of that nature. So there are opportunities for them as well.
so should parents start now, Sam, to look into the summer programs?
Absolutely.
Because I'm
Absolutely.
assuming it's sort of competitive considering there's less kids this year. So if people are interested, they should kind of get it going now, right?
I would recommend doing it now,
Yeah.
only because the spaces are very,
Right.
so when I think about our Trinity College location, right there on 1500 Broad Street, right across the street from the campus of Trinity College, that site always fills up with, probably in like, once it's unleashed as far as the offering, 2 months is full. And it was a program that we served probably 60, 70 kids. Now, because of social distancing, it's half of that.
Right.
So it is, competitive, and something that if you are a parent or a guardian and you're looking for a good, safe place for your child to go, and with caring and staff and the such, then inquire now.
Yeah.
The time is now.
Okay.
Yeah. My fear, when I really look at all of this, I talked about the social and emotional impact that's happening for our young people. You think about, it used to be a time we used to talk about summer learning loss. When kids had that time during the summertime classroom, and there might be this gap that happens for them.
Right.
Think
Yeah.
about what's happened since March until now.
Right. Yeah.
Think about that right there.
It is. It's a tragedy. It really
It's
is.
tough,
You know.
to how do we really support the educational community to help our kids get back on the trajectory to where they need to be, whether they decide to go to a college or university in the future or a trade school or the armed forces. But how do we continue to make sure that they're given the tools necessary for them to be successful? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Interesting
I
times.
absolutely
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Like you said, the Zoom and the Google Meets and the classroom still going on. Yes, that's great, but at the end of the day, it's not like being in school. And
No.
kids are struggling with it, and I've witnessed it firsthand. So I do understand, and I do believe that there will be children left behind because of this situation academically. I do believe
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
also socially. I think
Yeah.
kids getting back to school is going to be very strange for them to be there every day again. And from what I understand too, because my children are not in school, that the kids are even in school they're not allowed to socialize with each other. So it's everybody's just being separated from each other, and everybody is going to be affected by this.
In some way, somehow.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
the mental impact that is happening with our young people,
Yeah.
that we have to support them. So one of the ways that we're looking at, how do we become better, aside from aligning ourselves with the experts in the hospital and such, I'm really looking at with my team, do we bring on MSWs, counselors.
Yeah, I was going to
on our
actually
staff,
ask you about
right?
that, Sam, whether or
Yeah,
not virtually you guys are thinking about offering any sort of programs that way. I know that you do have mentor programs, but maybe also having them talk to, some therapists or, because I know even my son, we did get him someone to just speak to just
yeah,
because he was feeling so depressed and he's
yeah,
9 years old.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know that like that's crazy. That
Yeah.
And
he's
that,
9 and he asked to talk
yeah,
to someone.
that's
So
courageous, right? For him to even ask. But think
yeah,
about those kids that won't ask, that just
right.
sit in silence,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
tough. I remember back in April, I sat into a Zoom call with kids that were in middle school, and it was just a town hall around the pandemic and what they were feeling. And it was also at the same time, where the incident happened with George Floyd,
Right. Yeah.
right? And what was interesting to me, as I'm the moderator, right? What I've learned when talking with kids, you give them the opportunity to be the speakers and as such. I just guided the conversation. But one question that was really burning for me was how many kids actually saw through social media what happened to Mr. Floyd. And I just asked them to raise their hand on a Zoom call. And you can imagine all the boxes, every one of those kids rose their hands.
Yeah.
Right? So again, you're talking about the pandemic. You're talking about what's the social unrest that you see, not only with George Floyd, but what happened at the nation's capital, and so forth and so on. And how does a young person, let alone adults, handle that?
Yeah.
So it is our responsibility to, find the resources, find the partnerships, have these courageous conversations, and open up a platform where a young person can feel safe to say, hey, I need help. I need to talk to somebody.
Right. No, I love that idea. I think it's
Yeah.
very important. So moving forward, because you guys have this huge facility opening, you have so many things going on. How
Yeah.
can we donate to the Boys and Girls Club? And will you be having any sort of virtual fundraising moving forward?
Absolutely. So the need is always there, right? I would not be doing my job if I didn't say of the opportunities of how you connect, not only of your time, right? Being a virtual volunteer, and through our website, you can find out how to do that and be engaged with our organization that way. But there are opportunities to share your gifts to our organization to help us with our programs and services. When we do open up that Boys and Girls Club on September 7th at the South-end community, that's going to be one grand opening, but we're looking to do a grand opening at all of our facilities. I remember years ago when we opened up our Salem Hill Boys and Girls Club on October 4th, 2004. And I remember a kid coming from another clubhouse from the North End. And the kid walked in, and he was like, wow, this looks nice. I mean, they got everything brand new. Why our club doesn't look like this? And that sat in my head for the last 16, 17 years. And so to have the opportunity to be a leader of this organization, I never want a kid to feel that way. There's equity that has to happen across all of our Boys and Girls Clubs around the city. So when that new club opens on September 7th, all of our clubhouses will have a grand opening, whether it be new furnishings or paint. It's going to be and hopefully feel just like a new club for when our young people come back through the doors after Labor Day. They'll see the impact of the dollars from stakeholders and the investment to their future. That's what it's all about for us as an organization. So yes, if you go to our website, there are ways to donate. And I would just ask people to go to our website, www.bgchartford.org, and you can find out ways to become connected as well as to give to our organization.
Sam, it was so wonderful talking to you today.
I got the best job in the world. I love working with kids. And if I didn't have the opportunity to be a club kid, this is my assignment in life. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so for me, it's easy to talk about Hartford kids. Any kids that
if you ever need anything, just let me and Meech know, because we could do stuff virtually with the kids if you'd like, or whatever.
I told you I got a TV and recording studio in this Boys and Girls Club. I need future Jenny Boom Booms and Meechies for the next generation, right?
Right, of course.
It's all about, right?